Possibly the first glance of some new Tyranid rules today, let's take a look at some massive buffs for the Exocrine, who seems to be getting better in just about every way. Hello and welcome back to Allspec Tactics, where today we're just taking a very quick look at a leaked Exocrine datasheet. Basically one of Games Workshop's fairly standard packaging ones. They put the new datasheet in the box before the codex comes out, and we get to know the stats and things without some important details like the points cost and special rules and other stuff. It would kind of make sense to be surfacing around now. Games Workshop have said that the Tyranid Codex is the one that's coming after Eldar, so I guess it wouldn't be too surprising to see some new lead stat lines. Currently in 9th edition, I'd say the Exocrine is a kind of okay unit for the Tyranid army. Fairly reasonable firepower, coming out at strength 7, AP-3 and damage 2. Quite good at killing space marines, but certainly hampered by -1 damage rules and the fact that it has to stay still unless it wants to pay a stratagem to remain stationary, as on the move its damage output gets kind of terrible, getting half the number of shots and worse ballistic skill as if it stays stationary. So here are the rumoured new rules from the packaging. Usually these do tend to reflect the stat lines in the codexes, though they have made mistakes before, but if these ones are accurate, then it seems that the Exocrine is basically getting stronger in every single way, possibly sounding like pretty good news for the other Tyranid monsters. First up, one of the most interesting things is that it hits on a native 3+, both at range and in melee. Previously, the Exocrine and quite a lot of its contemporaries all hit on 4+, so for me this does kind of imply that Tyranid monsters might be hitting on 3s across the board. That would certainly help out units like Carnifexes. They are kind of susceptible to modifiers and things right now. I feel like it is likely to be a generalised change, otherwise it wouldn't have been hitting in combat on 3s. After all, it basically is a massive Tyranid gun platform, not a combat machine. Next up, it seems to have gained slightly more movement. I believe it was base movement 6 that didn't degrade in the previous datasheet. Now it appears to start at 8, go down to 7, and go down to 5 on its bottom bracket. Again, certainly not impossible that could be a change that's more generalised. Then, and perhaps the most surprising change out of this, is that its durability just seems to be massively better than before. It appears that the Exocrine will be going up to 15 wounds and a 2+ armour save, which I must admit is far tougher than I was expecting it to be. That would now put the Exocrine at tougher than a Lehman Ross, and only 1 wound shy of an entire Space Marine Land Raider, though I must admit the Land Raider is a particularly strong unit for comparing anything against. I guess it does have a pretty enormous carapace, and Games Workshop does like a bit of stat inflation with their biggest bugs, monsters and tanks. This thing really does look like it's a lot more of the heavy battle tank of the Tyranids now. It kind of makes me wonder whether or not the Tyranifex might mimic the Gorkanaut and Morkanaut and go to a Lord of War slot. In any case, enormously more tanky, you're going to need very high strength and high AP weapons to cut through this guy. Weapon-wise, it's armed with a bioplasmic cannon, 36 inches, D3+6 shots, strength 8, AP-4 and flat damage 3. Previously it had 6 shots or 12 when it was stationary, strength 7, AP-3 and damage 2, so that's generally quite an all-round decent improvement, but I strongly suspect that just by looking at these stats, it's almost certainly going to lose the ability to shoot twice when it's stationary, and probably the extra ballistic skill when it's stationary as well. I feel like those upgrades have just been baked into the raw stat line of the guns and the ballistic skill now, but who knows if it might have something similar or different special rules. In general, it would mean that the Exocrine would have a few less shots on average, averaging 8 rather than 12 if stationary, but the raw hitting power of those shots is a lot better. Previously, a stationary Exocrine would have done around about 6 or 7 wounds on average to a toughness 7 vehicle. This one averages 10 over multiple turns. It's kind of similar hitting power against 2 wound marines as that was what the old one was best at, but it's going to be significantly better against things like toughness 8 armour or 3 wound models like Gravis armour. Overall, if these ones do turn out to be accurate, it's looking a lot more threatening than it was. The gun changes are pretty much what I'd expect for a new Exocrine datasheet, though I must admit the durability boost is a lot better than I would have guessed. Otherwise it still gets those crushing claws at AP-1 damage 2. Not really significant compared with its shooting though. I do think that this guy perhaps highlights why I think Crusher Stampede looks a bit more concerning with these boosted monster profiles that are likely to be coming out. If that Army of Renown remains unchanged, then this guy would essentially be able to pick up a free 5+ invul save and -1 damage on top of his already good profile. I just feel like it's going to be basically impossible to cost him fairly based on his stat line, and also not make monsters like this just massively overpowered if you field them in that formation with all their special rules. So anyway, let me know what you think, Tyranid players. Would this make you a bit more tempted to put this enormous bioplasmic cannon on the table? I look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. If you've enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe to Allspec Tactics, or I'll certainly keep the regular 40k videos coming, with new ones out just about every day. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the videos on the channel, I would just like to mention that Auspex Tactics does have a Patreon page. It is what allows me to keep on making videos quite so regularly, so if you are enjoying, any support is enormously appreciated. Channel patrons do get to see a fair few videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things happen next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some really big model kits each month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support, the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.